Please let me know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Okay. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Friday Book Review. Our facilitator today is Oluwatobi Oguntono, and she'll be walking us through chapter 3 of our book, Passion Activates Your Talent. Right. Hi, Oluwatobi. Good morning. Over to you.
Hi, good morning. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Okay.
Recording in progress.
Okay, can everybody see my screen, please?
Yes, you can see your screen. Go on.
So what we're doing today, what we're reviewing today is talking about chapter 3 of our book. And the title of chapter is Initiative Activates Talent. So the book started off with a couple of insights on what initiative is and how to kind of use it effectively for your life. The first quote that kind of came to my head when I started reading the chapter was, "Your dreams don't work until you do." Right? Everybody has a dream. There's something that you think about all the time, and you're like, "Oh my God, I want to be this person. I want to be that person." You know, I feel like I can be this person. I can be the next Bill Gates. But then, if you don't take the action to actually achieve it, nothing is going to happen. Right? Take an example of this is Colonel Sanders, right? Colonel Sanders was rejected over 1,000 times. Colonel Sanders is the founder of KFC, right? And he actually said his dream when he was old, like he was proper old with gray hair, and he started taking his chicken from place to place before he kind of hit a success. And that's what KFC is today. So the goal of everything is that in as much as you're talented at something, you're the best chicken maker in the land. But if you don't put in the work for your food out there, you know, nothing is going to happen. You have to actually work day in and day out to ensure that your dream happens. So the first insight that we have is initiative is the first step to get you anywhere you want to go. So it's always about that first step. I know that it sounds cliche when you say take that first step to greatness, you know, but then you actually do have to do that one first step. You have to try. You want to start that company, take the first step, do it. You know, you want to become a vlogger, do it, record your first video. Of course, the first thing you do is not going to be super great, but if you keep trying at it, you know, you're on the path that greatness, and greatness doesn't happen overnight. You know, it's the work of consistently doing something towards your big goal or your big dream. Somebody that kind of inspired me, or somebody that kind of came to mind, and this is Les Brown, and it's always so inspirational because he had so many things stacked against him, where he was from, the things that they had prescribed on him. But then he rose beyond it, he rose above it, you know, he took that first step and he was kind of ready for success when it hit him.
I was identified as mentally retarded, put back from the 5th grade into the 4th grade, and stayed in that category until I got out of high school. I don't have any college training, but I met a high school teacher who one day changed my life. I was waiting on another student, and when he came in, he said to me, "Young man, go to the board and write what I'm about to tell you." And I said, I can't do that, sir. He said, "Why not?" I said, "I'm not one of your students." He said, "It doesn't matter. Follow my directions now." I said, "I can't do that, sir." He said, "Why not?" I said, "Because I'm educable mentally retarded." And he came from behind his desk and he looked at me. He said, "Don't ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality." And as he talked, my heart began to beat fast. Tears began to run down my eyes, and I was in the back just listening to him, because the speech he was giving, that speech was for me. And he said, "Les Brown," he said, "if you want to do anything worthwhile in life, you've got to be hungry." I told Mr. Washington I wanted to become a disc jockey. And so I started working to develop myself. He said, "I want you to practice every day being a disc jockey." I said, but I don't have any job now. He said, it doesn't matter. He said that it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. And as I was working to develop myself, I applied for a job as a disc jockey, WMBM on Miami Beach. I went to a guy named Milton Butterball. I said, how you doing, Mr. Butterball? I'd like to get a job as a disc jockey. He looked at me, he said, do you have any broadcast background? I said, no, sir, I don't. Do you have any journalism background? I said, no, sir, I don't. He said, we don't have any jobs available. I said, yes, sir. I went back to Mr. Washington and I told him, he said, don't take it personally. He said, most people are so negative, they will have to say no 7 times before they say yes. He said, go back again. So I went back again. I said, how you doing, Mr. Butterball? My name is Les Brown. He said, I know what your name is. What do you want? I said, I'd like to know whether or not you have any jobs for disc jockey, sir. He said, didn't I just tell you yesterday we didn't have any jobs? I said, yes, sir, but I know whether or not somebody got laid off or somebody was fired, sir. He said, no one was laid off or fired. Now get on out of here. I came back the next day like I was seeing you for the first time. I said, hello, Mr. Butterball, how are you? He looked at me with rage. He said, go get me some coffee. I said, yes, sir. And I went to get him some coffee. After a while, I would get their lunch and dinner, and I would go in the control rooms and take the disc jockeys their food, and I would not leave until they would ask me to leave. One Saturday afternoon, while I was at the radio station, a guy named Rock was drinking while he was on the air. I was the only one there, looking at him through the control room windows, walking back and forth, young, ready, and hungry. Pretty soon the phone rang, and it was the general manager. And I answered the phone. I said, hello? He said, Les, this is Mr. Klein. I said, I know. He said, Rock can't finish his program. I said, I know. He said, would you call one of the other DJs in? I said, yes, sir. I hung the phone up. I said, now he must think I'm crazy. I called my mom and my girlfriend, Cassandra. I said, y'all turn up the radio and come out on the front porch. I'm about to come on the air. I waited for about 20 minutes. And I called him back. I said, Mr. Klein, I can't find nobody. He said, young boy, do you know how to work the controls? I said, yes, sir. He said, go in there and don't say nothing here.
Hi, Toby.
I said, yes, sir.
Hi, Toby. Can you hear me?
I couldn't wait to get behind those controls. I put on an old Stevie Wonder record called Fingertips. I sat down behind that turntable.
Hi, sorry.
Hi, Toby.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. So
Yeah.
your sticky note is covering the video.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Is that better now?
It's by the top left. I think you need to close it. Yeah. I still glimpse of it. All right. Okay. Well, your slide is down now.
Sorry guys. I'm just trying.
Don't worry.
Is it gone?
Not. Yeah, but yeah, it's gone now.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
I said, look out, this is me, LB Triple P, Les Brown, your platter playing papa. There were none before me, and there will be none after me. Therefore, that makes me the one and only. Young and single and love to mingle, certified, bona fide, indubitably qualified to bring you satisfaction, a whole lot of action. Look out, baby, I'm your love man. I was hungry. I was hungry. You got to be hungry. Begin to know that you have greatness within you. And if just one of you here begin to envision yourselves as being blessed and highly favored to reach your goals, if just one of you capture the essence of what that means, that you have greatness within you and a responsibility to manifest that greatness, that you can make your parents proud, you can make your schools proud, you can touch millions of people's lives, and the world will never be the same again because you came this way. It was hard, ladies and gentlemen, coming to speak to people. And I was facing financial difficulties in my own life. I was behind on my bills and my dreams, and I'm saying to them, you can live your dream. It was hard, ladies and gentlemen. It was very difficult to pick myself up each day believing that I could do it. There were times that I doubted myself. I used to ask myself, can I do this? And something said within me, you're the one. Don't give up on your dream. By continuing to push forward, by continuing to run toward my dream, that one day I would have my own talk show. It's a long shot, ladies and gentlemen, from Liberty City, an abandoned building on a floor, never knowing my mother or father. It's a long shot. Being here with you today in this dome in Atlanta, it's a long shot. No college training, labeled educable, mentally retarded, but I kept running toward my dream. Don't stop. Don't stop running toward your dream.
Okay. Why I like Miss Brown's story so much is because like these odds were stacked against them. Like there was nothing that he could have done. He could have just have been another homeless person, lost in the United States. But he decided, I want to be something. I don't want to be poor anymore. I want to buy my adoptive mom a house. What do I need to do to kind of get me to where I need to be? An initiative is not just like an abstract concept. It's just looking at your dreams, looking at your goals, and thinking, okay, so how can I break this down into smaller little bits for me to achieve what I want to achieve? I know that there's a strong factor of fear, which is kind of the second point, insight, But then I think the first time you do something, you know that it's not a big deal. You keep going and you keep doing it. The story that was in the book was about, skydiving. And they also talked about how he and his wife were they were going to go on a skydiving trip, and when they had done like a 30-minute session with the instructor about they felt better about taking a skydiving jump, and then a life insurance seller came and was talking to them about buying life insurance, and at that point you're about to jump off a moving plane, 100 a couple feet in the air, and you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, am I doing the right thing? Should I actually be doing this? Because when you want to do skydiving, honestly, there's no root point to it apart from the adrenaline you get and the surge of energy. But then realistically, it's not one of the things that move your life forward. But he talked about how they still do the jump anyway. And for the first couple of feet, they were terrified. But then when he pulled the lever on his parachute, it kind of evened out. I mean, the fear was gone, and he could kind of embrace the beauty of what he was doing. And I think that kind of translates into us in a day-to-day. Once you kind of take that one step, you might be terrible at that thing that you're going to do. It might not go as well as you do, but it's better to have a regret of, oh, I tried it and it didn't go well, than for you to stand behind fear and not do it. And a quote that I like a lot is, that greatness that you're looking for is on the other side of fear. So everybody likes to stay in their comfort zone. I love to be in my comfort zone, right? A couple of years back, I actually couldn't talk to like a group of people. I used to be so freaked out because I'm like, oh, people are going to think about, oh, you can't pronounce this word well, or you can't do this thing well. But then I just started to talk. I do like to talk, but then there was that fear in my mind that you can't do this. You're not going to be spectacular at this. And at this point, I still get freaked out when I have to talk to a group of people, but I just go ahead, let's do it anyways. So I think that it's just taking that first step and doing that thing that terrifies you. Somebody that I think about when I think about fear is Serena Williams. She's one of the most adorned athletes in the world right now. And she rose, from nothing, a black girl with the odds stacked against her, to become one of the most iconic athletes, inspiring young girls around the world. How did she do it? Is she that she's fearless? No, it's not that she's fearless, but I think it's constantly taking the step again and again to kind of make her dreams come true.
What didn't I do to try to copy Venus when I was younger? I mean, her favorite color was my favorite color. Her favorite animal was my favorite animal. She wanted to win Wimbledon. I went to Wimbledon.
She is tennis prodigy Venus Williams, and she's also our Sportswoman of the Week.
It was very difficult being in the shadow of Venus, because ever since I can remember, Venus was always in the newspapers and always, in the press.
It was just we keep moving like that. As long as they move like that there, that's really good, you know.
I was never supposed to be good. I was never the one that was supposed to be like a great player, but I was determined not to become a statistic. So that's the only reason I played tennis. And, I was a copycat, basically.
Serena, she didn't have that power when she first started, so she had to try to beat you different ways. She would hit angles, she was trying drop shots, and then once she got her power level up, her serve became as dominant as Venus's.
Game, Miss Williams.
My mom always said, fear will hold you back. And I remember serving for a match. I think about being afraid. And I thought, oh my gosh, you prepared decades for this moment, so seize it now. And don't be afraid. Having the baby was definitely the scariest time of my life. I mean, can I be a good mom? I'm going to be a great mom. Like, oh, I'm going to be a terrible mom. It's really intense and it's crazy, but it was also a big fear of would I be able to come back, and especially after all the complications that I went through with my surgery, I wasn't sure of what would happen. Team, family is so key for me, and they make everything run smooth. And I remember telling my husband, I can play tennis, so I'm going to jump in the pool and I'm going to see what happens. And that's kind of what I did. I just kind of tried my best to overcome that fear. I never thought that I would be in the final of 2 consecutive Grand Slams back to back. Fear is a real huge enemy of humans. So I go into this mindset of, I know I can.
Okay, so I mean, I think about athletes and I think about like how amazing that they are and the extremes that they push their body to and the things that they achieve day in and day out. But then guess what? They're battling fear just like everybody else. Everybody's terrified of something. But I think that it's the action that we do in the place of fear. It's what we decide, okay, is this fear gonna hold me back, or am I gonna choose to move forward? And the next insight from the book, which I like quite a lot, is initiative opens the door to opportunity. There's so many opportunities around us, but then are you ready for that opportunity when it comes for you? Have you done the thing that you need to do? So imagine if Les Brown hadn't been practicing. So actually, Les Brown needs to practice every night, to be a disc jockey before that opportunity came. So when it came, he was ready. He didn't go and be a one hit wonder. He didn't go and flop. Imagine if he wasn't prepared for that opportunity and he went on air, and sure, it's his dream to be a disc jockey, but he hadn't done anything up to that point to kind of activate that dream, and he went on air and he flopped. Obviously, he's probably going to get fired, and his station manager is going to be like, oh, you were supposed to rescue the situation, you made it worse. So I think that it's that action of being prepared, being prepared when that opportunity comes. What actions are you taking to ensure that you're ready? We always think about opportunity as this one big abstract thing, but what if is that thing that we know that you're good at and we've seen you working very hard at? Somebody that in recent time that kind of inspired me with what they've done with initiative is I'm sure some of us know him. His name is Paula Stag, and he kind of did a 7 days of pasta thing all by himself, and then a magazine reached out to him after that opportunity to kind of feature him, and he had got further collaboration opportunities from that. He just saw it that, oh, I love pasta, I'm a chef, I'm a photographer, I'm a content creator. I want to kind of showcase my work, show who I am. And then through that, he got paid job offers. But if he was just chilling, waiting somewhere, those offers wouldn't have come to him in his house. Definitely not. This quote that was featured in the book, it's like, to succeed, jump as quickly at opportunities as you do at conclusion. So imagine how many times we think about conclusions in our head where you just assume that something is something that it's not. What if you match that energy with, okay, I'm actually going to do that thing, as opposed to assuming the worst. I'm actually going to do that thing. I'm not going to stand behind a million and one excuse that I have not to do that thing. When it's time to actually take action to something, there are reasons why we should not at that point. Something else seems more interesting at that point. Something else, wants to take your attention. But what if you just shook it off, and actually went for it, go ahead and go for it. So a quote that I like again, I'm showing my nerd side, but it's from Star Wars, and it's do or do not. There's no try. There's no in between of, oh yeah, tried to start that business. I tried to become a professional chef. Nope. Nobody cares about the middle part. Is it that you did it or you didn't do it? That's the story of greatness. We don't hear about the people. Look at how Thomas Edison, the person that pioneered the light bulb, he wasn't the first person with the idea, no, but he was the person that successfully executed the idea. So it's coming back to all the other people, we don't know their names. I don't know their names, but we remember Edison because he actually did it. There's no try. There are people that tried, and he did succeed, and we can't say anything to show for it, but he kept doing, and then now we have light bulbs that work everywhere, and he's, lauded around the world for being the inventor of it, and he tried. There was no in between for him. That comes to we all have something. There's a decision that we're supposed to be making. There's a problem that we should be solving. Even us as in advertising, we see that we're in the job of solving problems. There's problems that we see that we should be solving, but because our client is stressful, we're not going to solve the problem. We just want to do what we're supposed to do and move on with our lives. There's a possibility that we should be examining. There's a project that that you're perfect for, that you thought about it. It's your passion project, but you're not motivated to do it. There's a goal that you should be reaching. I know that we all think that there's a point in our lives where we're supposed to be that we haven't quite reached yet, but take it easy. Think about it and actually go for it. There's an opportunity we're supposed to be seizing. There's opportunities around us. I think a lot of people say that Nigeria is the land of opportunities. If you look at all the problems that we have, there are opportunities about for us to do something. Are you passionate about Nigeria and moving Nigeria forward? What can you do with that idea that you had? There's a dream that you should be fulfilling. Everybody has come to this planet Earth with divine purpose, right? There's something that you were created for actively. And when we look at obituaries of people and they died, and we talk about the greatness of the life that they had. You read all their accolades, but then not everybody has those long list of accolades. Some people just left their dreams to die. But then those people that are celebrated even when they die are people that took the action to kind of fulfill their dreams. So don't think about the reasons why not to do it. Do it and have something to show. And I think we learn from everything that we do. Even if that first project is not successful, the next project that you do, you've learned things from the first project to do your next project. Even looking at all of us in this room, I'm sure that we all started from somewhere. That first copy line you wrote was not the best, but then you've gotten to a point where you're creative director, assistant creative director, because you kept doing that thing that you wanted to do. Your first design was definitely not a success, but then you kept pushing it, and you're where you are now, where your work, you see your work on billboards, the newspapers, and that's because you did it. So that other dream that you have, whatever that thing is, go for it and do it.
Do it! Just do it! Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true! Just do it! Some people dream of success while you're going to wake up and work hard at it. Nothing is impossible. You should get to the point where anyone else would quit, and you're not going to stop there. No, what are you waiting for? Do it! Just do it! Yes, you can! Just do it! If you're tired of starting over, stop giving up.
So I put this video in there just as a way to kind of motivate us to do it, to do all the things that we think and we're procrastinating on. There's something that I believe in the power of affirmations a lot. Like there's a period in my life when I actually had to go back for my second degree, and I was doubting myself, like, oh my God, can I actually do it? And there was this ad that I used to watch. What if it's too hard? I'm gonna push through. What if I'm just not good? That's not true. Why? Because I can do anything I put my mind to. I believe in you. Chin up. Believe in yourself. Head high. Why? We push through anything we put our minds to. And every day I used to go to uni. I actually used to play that. Like a lot of people don't think it works, but the things that I was able to do during my second degree, I never would have performed that I would do all the things that I did. I tried out for like a political position. I didn't win, but I put myself out there in the spotlight. I like to be behind the scenes, but I did so many things because I said I can do anything I put my mind to. So I think that the mind, how you condition the mind, the limits that we put on our mind is, we have to push through those barriers. There's nothing that you can't do. You can learn how to do anything that you want to do. This takes me back to seeing those bodybuilders that have just one leg and they're ripped and they're shredded. And they have just one leg. People that have just one arm look better than I do, and my body works perfectly fine. I talk about how I want to go to the gym, but I'll do it. But then actually don't get into the habit of doing it. Taking that first action, taking that first step, I think is what my key takeaway from that is. So initiative eases life's difficulties. What does this mean? Sometimes we have that big thing that we're looking at, but if we are taking the initiative, let me go back to the analogy of school, right? We have projects. We all know that we have projects that are due in 3 months. And then we're like, oh yeah, 3 months is really far away. And we already have an idea in our head of how we're going to do it, how we're going to accomplish it, but we don't start. One goes, you're like, yeah, it's 2 months away. Month two goes, is like, yeah, it's 1 month away. Then in the last month of it, you're like, yes, I have 1 month to go to finish this thing. And then you're like, yeah, 1 month is okay. Then 2 weeks to it, you're like, oh my God, I have an 8,000 word essay due in 2 weeks. You start to panic. You're like, oh my God, it's so overwhelming. There's so much to do in this little time. But guess what? If you had actually started on the first day, so on the first day, have your outline. Obviously, you're not going to do a lot. Every day for the past 3 months, if you've been adding little lines, it doesn't have to be a lot. Adding little lines into what you wanted to do. You'd have made more progress than waiting to the very end where it's overwhelming. You feel like you're about to die. You pull multiple all-nighters to hit the point, to get to that goal. So I think that making our life easy is in the simple things. That brief comes in. Sure, we know that it's shook. Sometimes, what if you did a little thing to kind of knock that brief out? You did your research a little bit, you added something, you just wrote something down that would help you to answer that brief effectively, as opposed to waiting till the very last minute to get started on it. I know that life happens, but I think the goal or the lesson that we're learning from this is that if you just break it down into some smaller little steps, it'd be good. Somebody that has kind of illustrated this, is the author of Atomic Habits, and he talks about how to make those big things, smaller and work for us.
One way to think about it is just kind of basic math. Like if you just look at the numbers, if you were able to improve by 1% each day for an entire year, and those gains compound, you would end up 37 times better at the end of the year. And if you were to get 1% worse, you would whittle yourself almost all the way down to 0. What's interesting here is that everybody wants a transformation, right? Everybody wants a radical improvement, want rapid success. But we fail to realize that small habits and little choices are transforming us every day already. For the rest of this talk, there are 4 stages of habit formation. I'm going to take you through each of those 4. So the 4 stages are noticing, wanting, doing, and liking. Noticing, wanting, doing, and liking. One of my favorite things about noticing, one of my favorite strategies for discussing it, is called implementation intentions. Many people think that they lack motivation when what they really lack is clarity. They think that they need to get more motivated, that they need willpower in order to execute on a habit. If I just felt like writing, if I just felt like meditating, if I felt like working out, then I would do it. But in fact, they don't have a plan for it, and so they wake up each day thinking, I wonder if I'll feel motivated to write today. I wonder if I'll feel motivated to work out today. But instead, you can take the decision-making out of it by explicitly stating when, where, and how you want to implement the habit. It sounds easy to say, let's just start a plan, let's write down exactly what you should do, and then maybe you'll follow through on it. But of course, we all know that there are challenges that arise. It's not quite that easy. So here's a little strategy that I like to use to make sure you can come up with a better plan of action, and it's called a failure pre-mortem. So the way that it works is you think about the habit, the project, the goal, whatever the most important thing is that you want to work on, and then I want you to imagine, fast forward 6 months from now, and you failed. And then tell the story of why you failed. What happened? What challenges did you encounter? What was it that took you off course? Once you have all that stuff laid out on the table in front of you, you can start to make better choices about how to develop a plan. You can start to have if-then plans. So not only do I want to exercise for 20 minutes on Monday at 5 p.m., but also if I do not exercise because I have to take my kid to practice or whatever, then Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. I will go in, right? You can have ways to adjust for these challenges. Stage 2, wanting. One of the most overlooked drivers of habits and human behavior is our physical environment. And this is an interesting insight about our desires. Your environment often influences them. We want things simply because they are an option, right? Simply because they are in front of us at the time. Thankfully, you don't have to be the victim of your environment. You can also be the architect of it. you can decide to design something to make your good behaviors easier and your bad behaviors harder. So when it comes to habits, if you want to practice your guitar more frequently, put it right in the middle of your living room so you run across it all the time. If you want to read more, when you make your bed in the morning, take the book you want to read, put it on top of the pillow. When you come back that night, pick it up, read a few pages, go to sleep. Many of our desires are simply shaped because we have an environment that shapes us in that way. So the moral of the story is I've never seen someone stick to positive habits in a consistent fashion in a negative environment. Maybe you can overpower it once or twice, maybe you can have the willpower to do the right thing on one day, but if you're constantly fighting against those forces, it's going to be very hard to follow through. Stage 3, doing. The important insight here, especially for habits, is that in the beginning, the most important thing is just to shut up and put your reps in. Just make sure that you hone the skill, right? And you can start to think of it, the way that I like to think of it is that any outcome that you wish to achieve is just a point along the spectrum of repetitions. So if you have few reps to more reps, and you can imagine an easy goal, a moderate goal, a hard goal, the more reps that you put in, the more likely you are to achieve that goal. Now, what I like to say is you should optimize for the starting line, not the finish line, right? So often when we think about habits, goals, routines, achievements, it's all about the milestone. We think about how much weight we want to lose, how much money we want to earn, how many subscribers we want to have. It's all fixed on the finish line. But instead, if you can optimize for the starting line and make it as easy as possible to get started and get your reps in, often the outcomes just come as a natural result. Okay, stage 4, liking. The only reason that we repeat behaviors is because we enjoy them, because we like the reward. If we don't enjoy the experience along the way, we're unlikely to stick with it. And that means that you need to figure out ways to bring a reward into the present moment because good habits have a problem. And that problem is that for good habits, the immediate consequence is there. There's a cost that happens in the moment, but the reward is often delayed. So you need to figure out how to bring the reward into the present moment to stick to a good habit. And someone else who's going to be speaking here, Seth Godin, had a very nice little quote about this, where he said, the best way to change long-term behavior is with short-term feedback. And one way to think about that is that long-term behaviors, sticking with writing for years on end or going to the gym and so on, they have those delayed consequences. So you need a way to enjoy it in the moment. So here's what I think you should do. Get a wall calendar where you can see every day of the year mapped out on it. And then any day that you do your task of writing jokes for 15 minutes, I want you to just put an X on that day. And you'll have a couple false starts here and there, but at some point you're going to get a little bit of a chain going, right? You get 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days in a row. And at that point, your only goal becomes to don't break the chain. Doesn't matter how good or how bad the jokes are, doesn't matter if it makes it into your material, just don't break the chain. What's interesting about this is that by measuring your progress, you get an immediate reward in the moment, right? The reward of like having a great stand-up routine 40 days from now or 40 weeks from now or whatever, is not, it's so delayed that you need something in the moment that makes you feel good. So if you do those 15 minutes, you can cross that off. That's a way to get an immediate hit, a little bit of a reward by tracking it. We often fear that in order to achieve something new, to become someone new, we have to abandon everything that we are. But in fact, that's not how it works. Change can happen plank by plank, board by board, habit by habit. And gradually, you can become someone new. With consistency and repetition, you can actually change not only your results, but actually your identity. Is because the more evidence that we have for a belief, the more likely we are to believe it. So if you go to church every Sunday for 20 years, you believe that you are religious. If you study Spanish every Thursday night for 20 minutes, you believe that you are studious. The actions that you take provide evidence for who you are. And it's not that habits matter more necessarily on an individual basis. Each moment in life matters. But what ends up happening is that over the broad span of time, things that you do once or twice fade away, and things that you do time after time, day after day, week after week, accumulate the bulk of the evidence for what you believe about yourself. And so every action that you take is actually a vote for the type of person that you want to become. If you want to become someone new, then you can take a new action and begin to accumulate evidence for that identity, for that belief about yourself. And that the more votes that you cast, the more likely you are to win the election. You don't need to be unanimous. You don't have to be perfect all the time. You just need to have the body of work. So true change is actually not behavior change, it's not results change, it's not process change, it's identity change. The goal is not to read a book, it's to become a reader. The goal is not to write a book or write an article, it's to become a writer. The goal is not to run a marathon, it's to become a runner, to become a type of person, to develop an identity. And the way to being something or becoming someone is through doing something. So every time you sit down to write, every time you practice that habit, you are being a writer. Every time you play a sport, you're being an athlete. Every time you practice painting or music or whatever, you are being an artist. And habits are not only the method through which we achieve external measures of success, like losing weight or gaining more, earning more money or meditating and reducing stress. They are also the path through which we achieve internal change and actually become someone new. They're the path through which we forge the identity that we have, the deepest beliefs we have about ourselves, our sense of self. And so if you can change your habits, you can change your life. Thank you.
Why I put this video in there is because of the things that we don't like about ourselves and the things that we want to kind of change about ourselves, but then we don't actually do anything to change it. You know, you're not a tree, move where you are. That's what my sister tells me every time I say I want to go to the gym. She's like, you're not a tree, you can actually go to the gym if you really, really wanted to. And that's it, to be honest. The things that are truly important to us, we find a way to get them done. But the other things, you know, we say, yeah, we'll get to it when we get to it. I think all of us has that potential for greatness. All of us are great in one way, shape, or form of the other. But if we don't take the actionable steps to kind of do it, kind of take that step, you know, it's just wasted talent, it's just wasted potential. A quote from the book that I like a lot, it says, talent without initiative never reaches its potential. It's like a caterpillar that won't get into its cocoon. It will never transform, forever relegated to crawling on the ground, even though it had the potential to fly. So it just comes back to the lessons that we've been learning about taking that first step, being consistent with it, doing the action that you need to tap into greatness. Beethoven, something that comes to my mind was the story of Beethoven. Beethoven practiced at least 6 hours every day to become one of the greatest composers ever. He went through a lot of difficulties to kind of get there. He had an abusive father, but then it was the consistency, you know, to know that, okay, I can do it. That all of that, all his working 6 hours every day accumulated to 20,000 hours, you know, to create his greatest masterpiece that we still listen to today, that is still inspiring people around the world. And it was because he kind of got up and did what he needed to do to tap into his talent and to achieve his greatness. The book also talks about, you know, different types of people. There are 4 different types of people. And this is kind of people who lack initiative. This is a job of me to get up and go to the gym, right? For coming to the 4 types of people, you know, there are people that lack initiative. People who lack initiative fail to see the consequences of their inaction. So there's sometimes where you think that, yeah, sure, if I don't do that thing, there's no earthquake, the world will not stop, you know, nothing changes, and you don't think that there's a problem, it's not tapping into your full potential. You're perfectly okay with just coasting through life, you know, just being okay where you are, being unnoticed. There also the second type of people are people who lack initiative, that want someone else to motivate them. You know, there's something that I've learned, that nobody can push you to greatness. You have to, the push for greatness comes from within, comes from the inside. So you know, you're waiting for that one great mentor that's going to push you, that one great friend that's going to help you and support you. Sure, you can't get to greatness by yourself, but the first push, the first motivation comes from within. That will to kind of want to do it and want to get it done comes from you. The third type of people are people who lack initiative, look for the perfect time to act. So a lot of us, I'm guilty of that. Even when I started my business, I was waiting for the perfect logo, waiting for a lot of different things. But then my business partner, thankfully, she was like, you know, let's just start. Let's start talking to people. Let's start helping people do gifts. I was waiting for everything to be aligned. I was waiting for to have like the perfect brand identity, to have my content calendar as the ad person that I am. And she was just like, you know what, let's just start. I was trying to curate all my vendors carefully. I mean, all of that is important. I'm not saying prep work isn't important, but there's some times where you know that it's just busy work. Actually just go out, get it done. The more that you do, the more that you learn. And through that process of actually just starting the business, I've learned so much into, okay, so no, I don't like this space. I don't want this thing. I want us to do this instead of this. And it's actually been an amazing journey. So if I had been waiting, maybe I wouldn't have kind of done some of the things that we've done, or we wouldn't have gotten to the places that we've gotten to. And the 4th type of people are people who lack initiative, like tomorrow better than today. This is the goal of the classic procrastinator. So tomorrow is a better time, where we used to be just like then when I was doing my first degree. Every time that a assignment deadline got pushed, I was so excited about it. I hadn't finished what I was supposed to finish at that point, and you know, tomorrow is just like a better goal where you can kind of chill and relax and not do the things you're supposed to do. But actually, it's just a trap, because that tomorrow that you're chilling about is actually still going to come, and the consequences are still going to abound. So the book talks continuously about, how to be a talent plus person, how to kind of be a talented person on steroids. And it's talent plus initiative. Actually being talented, the things that we're uniquely talented and gifted with, and taking the action to walk the walk and do the talk. So it's just putting the formula of talent plus into action. What's the formula? What are the things that you need to do to get there? So first thing is accept responsibility for your life. You are put on this earth to kind of make a difference, to do something. Know that you're responsible. It's kind of like how we at Image and Time talk about extreme ownership, taking ownership of your life, knowing that I am the driver of my life. Whatever happens is because of me, not because of anything else. Sure, there are no circumstances like Nigeria that we are, but ultimately, whatever success or failures that you have are fully lay upon you and the actions that you choose to take. Examine your reasons for not initiating. Are those things valid? Those excuses, we have them. Are they valid, into your life and what you want to be doing? Focus on the benefits of completing a task. How do you feel after? When I finish, like I can say currently for our PZ Customs brief, we're not done with it yet, but we're close to the finish line, and I'm really excited for like, oh, I want to go and present this because we worked really hard on it, and the reward for it to be so amazing, seeing that, okay, we work with this kind of company, we can actually do something to change, a space in Nigeria. Share your goals with a friend who will help you. That's accountability body. There are people in our lives that we know that are accountability people, that they will not let you slack and be lazy. It's not like they're going to do the work for you, but they're going to push you and motivate you. For me, that's my sister, and she doesn't want to hear my gym story again. She's just like, do it. And when you start it, I'll help you through the process of the days that you don't want to go. It's also break your large tasks into smaller ones. Something that I do for this, I use this during my dissertation for my master's, because I get distracted and Instagram is so much better than the work that I want to be doing. So I use the Pomodoro technique. And what's that? So the first thing is the first 25 minutes. I actually had the time on my phone. There's an app you can actually use for it if you actually want to get some work done very effectively and efficiently. So the first thing is the first 25 minutes, do some work in 25 minutes, then have a 5 minute break. So that 5 minutes, I'll just go on Instagram quickly, and then I have a timer, and then I'll go back, 25 minutes, get like flesh out some parts of my paper, and then I'm looking forward to that next 5 minute break. I can be ginger for me to keep going on and on. And then I go back to it. But the goal of everything that you do, after 1 hour, you get a 15 minute or 30 minute break. So after those small little breaks in between, you now get like a bigger break where you can do things that you want to do. So that way, you're not kind of starving yourself of one thing. You're kind of putting structures in place that help you achieve your goals. Break it down into this small tasks. So this 25 minutes, I'm going to kind of do customer segmentation. The next 25 minutes, I'm going to kind of look at what the industry is saying. That way, for all the tasks that you have, this is a way for you to get it done, for you to feel a little less overwhelmed in your day-to-day life. And it doesn't exactly have to even be this technique for you to use. You can use other techniques that can help you just break your goals into smaller pieces and help you achieve them and get them done. Allocate specific times to tasks you might procrastinate. So the things that something that I've heard preached again and again, and that helps, is start with the hardest thing first. That thing that's going to give you the most difficulty, start it first. There's also a prioritization technique where you kind of categorize your dreams into urgent, not urgent, important. I can't remember the specifics of it, but it's basically weighing the importance of what you need to do and categorizing it into something that's important and urgent and not important and not urgent. So that way, the tasks that you should be doing and the tasks that just busy work that are unimportant to achieving your overall goal. And the most important thing here is remember, preparation includes doing. So that's action of taking that step. I put a video in here for us to kind of look at, why we procrastinate and how to kind of overcome procrastination.
It's 5 p.m. and you've just realized that report you've been putting off is due tomorrow. It's time to buckle down, open your computer, and check your phone. Maybe catch up on your favorite YouTube channel. Actually, you should probably make dinner first. You usually like cooking, though it's hard to enjoy with this work hanging over your head. And, oh, it's actually pretty late. Maybe you should just try again in the morning. This is the cycle of procrastination. And I promise you, we have all been there. But why do we keep procrastinating even when we know it's bad for us? To be clear, putting something off isn't always procrastinating. Responsible time management requires deciding which tasks are important and which ones can wait. Procrastination is when we avoid a task we said we would do for no good reason, despite expecting our behavior to bring negative consequences. Obviously, it's irrational to do something you expect to harm you. But ironically, procrastination is the result of our bodies trying to protect us, specifically by avoiding a task we see as threatening. When you realize you need to write that report, your brain responds like it would to any incoming threat. Your amygdala, a set of neurons involved in emotional processing and threat identification, releases hormones, including adrenaline, that kick off a fear response. This stress-induced panic can overpower the impulses from your prefrontal cortex, which typically help you think long-term and regulate your emotions. And it's in the midst of this fight, flight, or freeze response that you decide to handle the threat by avoiding it in favor of some less stressful task. This response might seem extreme. After all, it's just a deadline, not a bear attack. But we're most likely to procrastinate tasks that evoke negative feelings, such as dread, incompetence, and insecurity. Studies of procrastinating university students have found participants were more likely to put off tasks they perceived as stressful or challenging, and a perception of how difficult the task is increases while you're putting it off. In one experiment, students were given reminders to study throughout the day. While they were studying, most reported that it wasn't so bad, but when they were procrastinating, they consistently rated the idea of studying as very stressful, making it difficult to get started. Because procrastination is motivated by our negative feelings, some individuals are more susceptible to it than others. People who have difficulty regulating their emotions and those who struggle with low self-esteem are much more likely to procrastinate, regardless of how good they are at time management. However, it's a common misconception that all procrastinators are lazy. In the body and brain, laziness is marked by low energy and general apathy. When you're feeling lazy, you're more likely to sit around doing nothing than distract yourself with unimportant tasks. In fact, many people procrastinate because they care too much. Procrastinators often report a high fear of failure, putting things off because they're afraid their work won't live up to their high standards. Whatever the reasons for procrastination, the results are often the same. Frequent procrastinators are likely to suffer from anxiety and depression, ongoing feelings of shame, higher stress levels, and physical ailments associated with high stress. Worst of all, while procrastination hurts us in the long run, it does temporarily reduce our stress level, reinforcing it as a bodily response for coping with stressful tasks. So, how can we break the cycle of procrastination? Traditionally, people thought procrastinators needed to cultivate discipline and practice strict time management. But today, many researchers feel the exact opposite. Being too hard on yourself can layer additional bad emotions onto a task, making the threat even more intense. To short-circuit this stress response, we need to address and reduce these negative emotions. Some simple strategies include breaking a task into smaller elements, or journaling about why it's stressing you out and addressing those underlying concerns. Try removing nearby distractions that make it easy to impulsively procrastinate. And more than anything, it helps to cultivate an attitude of self-compassion, forgiving yourself and making a plan to do better next time. Because a culture that perpetuates this cycle of stress and procrastination hurts all of us in the long term.
Okay, that's kind of sort of leading to the end of which our exercises, kind of help us foster our talent more, talent and initiative together. I know that it's hard to overcome stress and those blockers that we have in our life, but my charge or the last thing I'm going to say to all of us today is take one thing. It doesn't have to be a very big thing. That one thing that's going to kind of help you achieve that goal, that dream that you have. Do exercises to help you achieve it, break it down, get an accountability body, the things that we've learned, through the course of this 45 minutes. Just do one thing. It doesn't have to be big. You can get the really big calendar of your goals and your dreams and just tick it off. Just take action into something that you're passionate about today. And with that, I'm open to anybody that wants to kind of add or ask questions or anything else. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Toby. I don't think there's any contribution or any, question or clarification really. Thank you everyone for joining the session. Let's start today is Friday and it's Friday. Sorry, it's Feel Good Friday, right? So let's try and join because also it's also our midday sent forth, right? So let's all endeavor to be in the session.
Hi, Samuel.
Oh, hi, Larry. Sorry, I didn't see your hand.
Hi, Samuel. Sorry.
Yeah,
I
sure.
really just want to verbalize the fact that it was a very great session. Thank you, Toby. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you so much for that, Larry. Bye, everyone. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.